everyone, today I wanted to do another Unpopular Opinions music edition. This is going to be part 6, and let's just get into it. I wanted to drag Rolling Stone for the list that they put out of the best singers of all time at the top of this year. So first up, I want to say there's no world where Adele should be put above Brandy and Kelly Clarkson. Those two were like 193 and 194, and Adele was like in the 20 range. Kelly Clarkson could sing Adele's discography in her sleep. And I really like Adele's music, as I said. Great songwriter, great singer. But you're not going to sit up here and tell me that she's a better singer than either two of them. I think Mariah should at least been top 3, but I will take top 5. And, you know, I do think that Chaka Khan's comments towards her were ridiculous. Like I said on my TikTok, like, she very much reveres Chaka. So it's very weird of her to come out and diss her, talking about it's payola or some shit. Like, Mariah is not one of the best singers of all time. Like, she is not more influential than you. Like, her discography is not more replayable than yours. Like, let's be so for real for a moment. That was so nasty of her. And there's other people that have issues with on the list. But Mariah Carey has not done a thing to her. She's given her so much praise when she doesn't have to. Michael Jackson should have been higher. They brought him all the way down to 86, which is ridiculous. Huge Paul McCartney fan. Wearing a Beatles shirt right now, as you guys can see. He was at like 26. Way too high. Way too high. John Lennon at like what, number 12? Ridiculous. Bob Dylan can't even sing. Why is he even on the list at this point? Elvis was not a good singer either. Why is he there? Amber Riley didn't even make the list, which was a big issue for me because how can you not put her on the list? Like, that was huge problems for me. I think Anita Baker should have been higher up on the list. I will say Taylor Swift should not have even been on the list. Like, let's be so for real. I'm a Taylor Swift fan. You know, I enjoy her music. I have several videos on her that you guys can check out if you want to. But Taylor Swift is good enough for what she does. She's not an exceptional singer, and I feel like most of her fans would agree. So why is she even on the list? Lana Del Rey should not have even been on the list either. We know you guys want to cause controversy. Celine Dion wasn't even on the list. How's Celine Dion not on the list, but Taylor Swift makes the list? That doesn't even make any sense. Like, they were just doing anything, and I'm just so tired of black legends continually being disrespected to uplift these mediocre white people. At a certain point, we have to be for real. How do you put on the records and think, I'm gonna put Elvis Presley above Brandy? How do you wake up and do that? They are just so ridiculous, and the list was just abhorrent all around. I did put Aretha at number 1. I can respect it. Aretha is one of my favorite artists of all time now. I really respect her. She influenced a lot of singers, so I'm not mad at her number 1. Whitney number 2 was fine. Like I said, Mariah should have been top 3, but I will take top 5. So, you know, these are some of the concessions I can make. But overall, the list was horrible. Next up, Glee's rendition of Blow Me One Last Kiss is superior to Pink's version. They just really ate that up. I said what I said. I prefer SZA's SOS album to Ctrl. Both are amazing. Ctrl is one of my favorite debut albums of all time. I really love what she was doing on SOS with, you know, the genre bending and all the different things that she was doing and experimenting and stuff. I thought that was very cool. So I really enjoy both of them. You can make the case for either of them being better than the other because SZA's an amazing artist, my favorite R&B girl out right now, like I've said. But for me personally, I just find myself going back more to SOS, but both of them are amazing. Next up is Afrodisiac by Brandy is not that good of an album. And every time I say this, I get met with so many like, how could you say that? And have you listened to the album? Have you listened to the album? After she put out the masterpieces that are Never Say Never and Full Moon, she puts out Afrodisiac. She's working with Timbaland. Like, from everything on paper, this album was supposed to be better than Full Moon. I really like the title track. I like Who Is She to You, maybe one other song. But every time I listen to the album, it goes in one ear and out the other. I cannot remember the songs for the life of me. People always talking about, this is Brandy's best album, and then you woke up. How is it Brandy's best album when Never Say Never and Full Moon are right there? Especially Full Moon, easily her best album. Easily. That was really her and Dark Child at their respective peaks, in my personal opinion. You know, them as a collaborative force, one of my favorite collaborative forces of all time, really ate that up. Aphrodisiac just gets far too much, and I'm always gonna think that. Next up is that Raye's debut album, My 21st Century Blues, is horrible. Now, this is not something that I would have listened to on my own time. I think her escapism song is catchy. I definitely think that it sounds like it was, you know, made in 2014 with the production and just the way everything is going on there. I was never going to listen to this album, but one of my friends was like, oh, you should listen to the album. So I was like, okay, 46 minutes of my life that I'm not getting back. That album was so painfully mid. Now, here's what I can say positively about the album before I really get into dragging it. Number 1 is I think that she's a good singer. I think that she can hold a tune. You know, the vocals were good. And 2, I can appreciate the fact that she was open about, you know, struggles that she dealt with sexual harassment and stuff like that. I think that the world that we live in, a lot of times, women are shamed and stuff, and I feel like they can't come forward and everything. And even with Me Too, you know, there's a whole thing going on with that, and just powerful men and power dynamics, and like so many things go into that. So I think it was very brave of her to come forward about experiences that she's like dealt with and stuff. I feel like that is something that is very commendable. Besides that, which I do commend, like I said, songwriting on here is just something that makes me cringe. She had some song about like environmentalism, and I was just like, what the hell is this? That song was just not giving. A lot of the lyrics on here are just ridiculous. The entirety of Bust It Down, how do you not laugh in the studio recording that? How do you genuinely put put that out and you think, oh, this is good. She's talking about I'm a TikTok like a clock or something like that. Whatever she was saying, one of the worst songs lyrically on that album. You know how bad your album has to be for me to look forward to escapism? I don't even like that song. I just sing along with the song for me. I know the first verse, I don't know the rest of the song. I heard the rest of the song, I was like, this goes on way too long. I don't like the song. And I saw some people say, oh, she's just generation just Amy Winehouse. In what respect? Everybody wants to be Amy Winehouse ripoff these days, but the music is not giving what it needs to give. So yeah, me personally, I would not recommend the album. If you enjoy the album, all love to you. I have nothing for her as an artist. You know, I hope to see her succeed, but the album, I did not like it at all. Next up, I'm so tired of people pitting Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston against each other. You guys don't get tired at this point. Like, it is just something that I'm so overseeing on social media. You guys know Mariah is my favorite singer of all time. Whitney's number 2 for me. Huge respect for both of them. They both influenced so many singers. So many singers would not be doing what they're doing if it wasn't for these two women. I will post a video talking about Mariah on TikTok, like, oh, this is something that I love about Mariah. Oh, she's great, but she's not Whitney Houston. Okay, was I talking about Whitney in the video? No. So why are you coming on here and trying to hate on Mariah and to uplift Whitney? I see it the other way around too. Why can't you respect both of them and their contributions to music without hating on the other? There's a difference between, you know, putting one down to uplift the other and just saying, you know, I prefer Mariah or I prefer Whitney, which is fine. You can make the case for either of them being the best singer of all time, you know, and they respected each other. You know, when Mariah first started, always gave props to each other there. They did the song When You Believe and collaborated, and they were friends. So I don't understand why the fan base is always going against each other. You know, they're both fantastic in their own ways, and together they were truly incredible. Next up is charts and sales on everything. On Twitter, I see this all the time whenever fan bases are arguing, and this person, oh, well, this person sold this many albums, so automatically they're better than this person. That isn't everything. You know, I think it's cool whenever, you know, an artist I love, you know, has all these records on the Hot 100 or on the Billboard 200 with their albums. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is the quality of the music. Victoria Monet makes some of the best music I ever heard, and yet she doesn't have multiple #1 hits, you know, like that she's a lead artist on, unfortunately, and, you know, #1 albums like I think that she should. Does that take away from how amazing her music is? No. It's just, you know, not everyone is going to, you know, be a superstar. Not everyone's albums are going to sell the way that they should. Be it marketing, be it racism, like there's so many reasons that tie into that and everything, and I just really love her as an artist, so I'm just using her as an example. Machine Gun Kelly has had like 2 #1 albums. His music is garbage, but there's an audience who wants to buy his music. Does that make it good? No. The most important thing, the thing that's going to stand the test of time is if the music is good. You know how many eras there's been, like in the 90s and stuff like that, in the 80s and the 70s, where there's acts who like were one-hit wonder. They had one hit song, their album didn't really sell anything, or they had a hit, and then we look back at it and it's like, why was this popular? Because it was a product of the time. If you put that out now, it wouldn't do anything. Some stuff is timeless. You know, Michael Jackson's Thriller album, you could put it out today, it would be successful. You know, I think it would be different just because of how society is, but that was still good music whenever you release that. You know what I'm saying? And so I just think that it's a stupid metric to put everything by. I think there's so many different things to, you know, go by, and I don't think that that's end all be all. I'm so tired of older fans being rude to younger fans of the same artist, and this just happens all the time in fan bases. I'm sorry, I wasn't born in 1995 to appreciate this album when it came out, but I'm still appreciating it now. I appreciate and respect the music, so I think that there should be a thing about coexisting. I think a lot of older fans of artists are very snobby. I'm tired of labels not marketing their artists. You know, there's artists that come out and say, like, my label is making me post all these TikToks and stuff to market my music and everything, and it's like, okay, you're supposed to be doing that. Artists are getting paid pennies because they're doing these 360 deals, which you guys are supposed to market our music to get them out there, to get them a larger audience, and you guys are refusing to even market artists now. What happened? Like, I hate whenever labels do that, whenever they refuse to market their artists and they sabotage them on purpose because they have like a falling out with them and then their album doesn't do well or whatever, and you're just sabotaging the artist, you're sabotaging the fans. Why would you have an artist on your label that you don't want to succeed to a certain degree? Also, if an artist wants to let out of their contract, then why wouldn't you let them out of their contract? I just don't get certain label tactics at all, and it's really frustrating. Like, do your job, label, like, be for real. Next up is some songwriters have to find their pocket of what they're good about writing at. Some songwriters are really amazing storytellers. Some songwriters are really great at freestyling. Some are really great at having political messaging in their songs and being more conceptual. And there's just so many different things that you can tap into as an artist. Some artists try to go into, I'm a bad bitch, I'm sexy, and it falls flat on his face because nobody for a second is going to believe that listening to the song. And I feel like that's really important. Like, you have to sell the song, or I'm cringing listening to the song. Not everybody can hop on a song and be like Janet Jackson on Would You Mind, and you know, that's a song I really like. Not everyone has the range to pull it off, and I think sometimes you just have to be honest with yourself. I cannot pull this off, let me not do it, let me not embarrass myself. But some artists just think that they can do everything. They have too many yes men around them, and let's just focus on their craft because it's just getting embarrassing at this point. Also, the same thing goes for imaging. I saw someone say this, I believe on Twitter, but sex appeal is something that you either have or you don't. Like, whatever Charlie Puth was doing with his last era and all those disturbing interviews that he gave and stuff, just shut up and put out the music, which isn't good anyway. Stop trying to lean so hard into this when you obviously don't have it like that. Again, not everyone can be a Janet Jackson. Not everybody has that. Sometimes I'm gonna be cringing. Just do what works best for you and try to find a way to challenge yourself, but not have it be be where a thing was like, this is not even who this person is. This doesn't even make sense. It's something that's so annoying to me. There is a difference between musicality and oversinging. A great example of musicality is Mariah Carey, my favorite singer of all time. If you look at like her rendition of You and I by Stevie Wonder, it was a very tasteful rendition, but there was definitely ways that she was able to make it her own, right? You look at other singers, Christina Aguilera, sorry, gonna have to say it, she consistently oversinged. That Whitney Houston tribute that she did, it was just something, it's like, why are we doing all that? We don't need to throw 87 riffs and runs in where it doesn't make sense. Sometimes the song calls for it, sometimes it doesn't, and the key to being a great musician is knowing, okay, this is going to fit with the music, let me throw in a riff right here, and I think that that is so important. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Of course, there are times where Mariah has oversing, I'm not gonna act like she never has, but 90% of the time it's very tastefully done, it really fits with the song, and her musicality is the best that I've ever heard, as I said before. And I know some of the Christina stans are gonna be watching this and they're gonna be dragging me, but oh well, like, it is what it is. Hey, whenever you can tell an artist has been on the internet for far too long before going into the studio, like, there's too many references to things on the internet and everything, and at a certain point it's just like, okay, like, I feel like I'm not really in this experience, like, listening to the song. It's not something that's going to like age particularly well, and it's just something I don't like. Next up, 90s R&B is superior in my opinion. I hate whenever artists let their backing track do all the work for them, like they barely sing any of the song, they hold out the mic to the crowd to sing the song. Okay, then why did I come to see you then? I could have done this in my room. Why am I paying hundreds of dollars to see you if you won't even bother to perform your own song? Like, it's giving lazy at this point. I think that timeless music is honestly really hard to achieve. I was thinking about this one of the TikToks that I made. I feel like Aaliyah is one of those artists that had timeless music because she was so consistently ahead of her time. If you listen to like her self-titled album, still sounds fresh today. Her aesthetics, her photo shoots, it looks like it was just taken and everything. There's music that I listen to from like the 80s and 90s that I think is great, but I don't think it's timeless. You can listen to it and tell exactly when it's made, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because of, you know, things that are great of that time, and I like things that had a classic sound to it. But to make timeless music, I think is really hard. I think it's underappreciated, and you know, those are my thoughts there. Some people call anything timeless, and I feel like 90% of the music made in the 2010s, for example, is not timeless. It's very dated with the production. These men have to step it up in terms of performance. Why are you barely walking on the stage and you're already getting out of breath? Beyonce is out here giving you a full show, hitting hard choreography, doing all this live singing, really engaging with the audience. You don't see her huffing and puffing. So why, whenever you're just walking around the stage, you cannot catch your breath? Like, at a certain point, let's care about the performance. Like, it's just something that's so tired at this point. The male artist performance standards are so different than women. People said this a thousand times before. Women have to change their outfits, give a bunch of choreography, be singing live, and sound great, engage the crowd, do all these different things. Men just have to show up and be there and just lazily, you know, sing the track, walk around a little bit and get out of breath, and then they get to go home. A woman does that, she's crucified, and I'm just tired of the double standards. Like, I just appreciate a great showman, and a lot of these men are not giving. I hate most cursive singing, like sing properly at this point. I hate whenever artists use controversy to push their work. There is a difference between good controversy and bad controversy, and you can get into that without even attempting to. I'm talking about those artists who every time they have a single to put out, an album to put out, they're causing controversy on purpose. At a certain point, it gets old, because why do you need shock value? Why do you need controversy to sell your music? If the music was good, it'll sell on its own. Like, it's just something that gets so ridiculously old to me. Why do you need all these gimmicks to try to sell things without just putting out genuinely good music and everything? I'm all for promoting your music, I'm all for campaigning well. Like I said, there are controversies that will happen that you don't intend to get into. At a certain point, people are gonna get tired of the controversy. The real question is, does the music hold up? I hate that anybody can get famous these days. Like, someone makes a mid-song on TikTok, boom, they're signed to a label, and now all of a sudden they have a hit. Like, whenever you used to want to be an artist, you actually used to have to work for it. You used to go into artist development, so you knew how to give a performance, you knew how to do interviews. That's why a lot of these new people don't last, because they didn't want to be famous anyways, and like, oh, let me just have a career. But is your music even worth listening to? No, you have one hit and then you go away. And yes, this has happened in every single generation, but it's different now. Except this isn't unpopular, but Ticketmaster must be stopped. The prices that I've had to pay for some concerts, I don't even want to say it aloud, because it is getting ridiculous. And just the way that everything has been going with certain tours. Taylor Swift Eras Tour, I wanted to go. I got waitlisted, my sister got waitlisted. The fact that I had everybody on the set at the same time trying to buy tickets when you know how popular an artist that Taylor Swift is was a recipe for disaster. Like, why would you do that? And all their excuses for things is ridiculous. And you're just putting fans and artists in an uncomfortable position. The whole official platinum thing is a bunch of BS, and the whole ticket buying experience is horrible. Me buying tickets for his SOS tour was horrible. I talk about that in my concert review, which we'll have on the screen right here. I'm so tired of Ticketmaster. They are so greedy. They are so money hungry. I'm tired of people taking advantage of others on Ticketmaster. People selling tickets for $10,000, be for real. I hate whenever artists take advantage of their fans just because they have their support, and you know, they are very manipulative, and they know, oh, this person will do anything for me. Like, continually asking fans to like harass people and just send people like disgusting things and doxing people and death threats and like all these like different things or whatever, just because, you know, that person doesn't like you or whatever, or that person had a criticism of you. I think that that's so stupid. I think it's dumb to weaponize your fan base because of that. I hate when artists decide not to promote their work and then they get mad whenever it doesn't do well. Well, part of work doing well a lot of the times is going out promoting your things, doing interviews, performing it live, you know, even touring, doing fun things with the fans online, on social media. Like, there's so many different ways to promote your work. Not everybody wants to do that, and I understand it, but a lot of times you have to understand that 9 times out of 10, if you don't promote it, then that is going to affect your sales. And I hate whenever people don't do that. Oh, why did my album do well? Because you weren't going out to promote it. It's not rocket science. Like, that's one of the most important things to do as an artist. Sometimes something lands, you don't have to promote it, and then it just does well. But 9 times out of 10, promotion is key. Not everyone wants to be a huge A-list star, and I wish that some fan bases would accept that. Like, for example, a lot of Zayn fans be like, oh, well, he should have the career that Harry had, da-da-da-da. He doesn't want that career. He intentionally doesn't tour or, you know, promote his things very heavily or active on social media that much, from what I know, because he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to be in the limelight that much for his own reason. You know, you also have people like Fiona Apple. She releases an album once every 8 years, doesn't do that much promotion. She doesn't want to be a huge star like that. If she wanted to, then she would do it. I just feel like some fan bases have to accept that. Some people are not at that level because they don't want to be. Yes, some people are not at that level because of label sabotage or the music just doesn't connect. It happens and stuff. But there are times where artists just doesn't want to be that huge, and like, let's just accept it instead of constantly comparing them to other artists. Oh, this person should have that. Well, maybe if they wanted it, then they would go do something about it. Next up, as long as you have talent, I don't really mind lip syncing at this point. Like, as long as you've like proved yourself for the most part, or it really depends on what you're doing. If you're hitting a whole lot of choreography, really don't care if you're lip syncing because it's hard to sing and do choreography at the same time. If you're a legend who's like really established yourself, I'm not gonna care because you've established yourself. I know it's your voice on the record and stuff like that, so like, I'm really not gonna care as much. As long as I'm getting a great show and, you know, I really like you as an artist, then why would I care, you know, at this point? I think that a lot of the 2010s pop music has aged horribly. Like, whenever people play certain like EDM songs and they're like, oh, I missed this time. I do not. There's a lot of great pop albums from the 2010s, of course. A lot of it has aged horribly. I think it's one of the worst eras for pop music. I might get crucified for this one, but it must be said, I can't stand Elton John. Why can't I stand Elton John? Because his ego is out of this world. You might say, but Anastasia, he wrote all these classics and da-da-da. And I'm gonna stop you there, because he writes the music for his songs. He does not write the lyrics for the song. It's Bernie Taupman or somebody else that actually writes the lyrics to his song. And I feel like a lot of people don't know that. We have, you know, artists who don't get enough credit for songwriting. Like, a lot of times it's women, but people like him who don't even write the lyrics to their songs are getting all this credit. You know, I do think that he's musically talented and everything, but I feel like his ego is way too big to be acting the way that he acts. I think that he's consistently rude. I just cannot stand him and everything. And some people can say, well, oh, I would have the same ego if I did da-da-da-da, but I feel like the context is important because a lot of people don't even know that he didn't write the lyrics to his songs. All right, well, that is going to be it for my unpopular opinions video. I was really looking forward to doing this for months, but I got put off by other things, so I'm really glad to be able to share all these. I hope that you guys enjoy watching it. I really enjoy making these. Glad to do another one. A lot of stuff to get off my chest, clearly, but thank you guys so much for watching. If you wanted to see more videos like this, I'll have a card on the screen right here to where you guys can go to. It'll be at the end of this video, a link down below in the description if you guys are interested. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give it a like down below. It helps me out a lot in YouTube algorithm. I very much appreciate it. You can subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. If you hit the bell, get a notification to your phone when I post, you know, I miss brand new videos come out. First link down below in the description is going to be my second channel. Also going to have my Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, TikTok if you guys like to follow me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.